Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to my review of Doctor Strange 2 Multiverse of Madness. Now, let's get one thing out of the way first. Some may find this film incredibly entertaining and full of massive surprises, big Easter eggs, some twists, and callback to some of our most beloved heroes. While others, like myself, will find the film a kick in the teeth for fans who have followed the events of the first Doctor Strange film, plus the Disney series What If and WandaVision. Now, it's almost as if Sam Raimi didn't watch any of the build up to Doctor Strange 2. There's a massive disconnect between Spider Man No Way Home and this multiverse. And when you have three Spider-Men who came back and their presence was included into the film's plot, they had some weight to the film. They really gave them something to do. But here in Doctor Strange 2, they give you the candy in one hand and they blow it up in your face in the other. And all these things that you've dreamed about over the months and the years. You know, everyone's saying we want to see Wolverine, we want to see Professor X, we want to see all these people. We want to see Tom Cruise as Iron Man, we want to see all these different things. They just detonate it and blow it up in front of your very eyes. Now, the premise of the film is slightly disjointed and quite meaningless, to be honest. From the events of WandaVision, she knew what she had done wrong and had left the townspeople that she had hurted in order to study the Dark Code to try and rescue Billy and Tommy. That's how we left the film. But Wanda was never really the villain of WandaVision. It was more so that she was being manipulated, and nor was she considered the villain after she joined the Avengers. We know what happened to her brother who died in Age of Ultron, but in WandaVision, she felt remorseful for the hurt that she had caused and had always pulled herself back from the darkness out of love for the Vision, and now we switch to her kids. Now, Sam Raimi, who's a horror director first, saw this opportunity to jump in and have fun with all these Marvel toys, and he ran with it. Now, Scott Derrickson wanted a completely dark-toned horror film featuring Nightmare or maybe even Mephisto at the plot, you know, in the same way Agatha Harkness was wheeling and dealing and forcing Wanda to do things that she didn't want to do. Scott Derrickson wanted to sort of play on that. But Sam Raimi flips the coin and decides that she will destroy America Chavez and everybody else around her with the ability to travel the multiverse. Now, Doctor Strange finds out that all of our dreams are just visions in the multiverse from our other selves, which I thought actually was really good. I thought the hypothesis, whether they're good dreams or bad dreams, would actually be another part of yourself living that reality out in real life. And that's the reason why some people kind of say, well, Billy and Tommy weren't real, they were dreamt up, and she imagined them in WandaVision. Well, that's not exactly true to a point. Yes, she did conjure them up in WandaVision, but Wanda was having dreams about having kids long before WandaVision. So the Billy and Tommy that we saw in WandaVision was a Billy and Tommy that she imagined in a dream from another multiverse. So I like how that actually ties in. It really does make sense and does answer a lot of things that scientists have been talking about in real life. But Doctor Strange meets American Chavez and finds out that these monsters that are after her were coming from Wanda. So we pick up the film with America Chavez, who's a teenager that has the ability to travel the multiverse. Doctor Strange meets up with her and finds out that these monsters that are coming after her were sent by somebody because they had runes on them. Knowing that Wanda has some experience with magic, Strange goes to see if she can help out so she can protect America Chavez. Not knowing that it was in fact Wanda who was sending the monsters after her in order to steal her powers. So Wanda wanted America Chavez's ability to travel the multiverse so that she can find Billy and Tommy. And if you guys are stuck with how that works out, remember Agatha Harkness wanted to steal Wanda's powers so that she can harness the chaos magic. So because that she taught her how to use the runes, and again, you'd have to watch WandaVision for all of that context. But Wanda now knows that you can go around actually stealing other people's abilities. So as I said, from here, you already are scratching your head, asking yourselves, hey, what happened to the Wanda who tried to save her kids and save her lover in Vision, who, by the way, wasn't even mentioned in this film? There's no mention of Vision in this film whatsoever. And remember, guys, Vision is actually alive now. It was the White Vision, they repaired his body, and the Hex Vision, which was the real Vision, who was living with Wanda in WandaVision, transferred his consciousness into White Vision. So as we know it now, Vision is alive and well in the MCU and just trying to figure out all of those emotions and feelings that he once got, which was uploaded into his new body. But the second problem with Doctor Strange is Doctor Strange 1. The movie that we all saw 6 years ago. We saw what happened with the events of those movies. And I just want to say, what the hell happened? We've waited 6 years to find out about Mordo, who becomes disillusioned by sorcerers like the Ancient One and Doctor Strange, tapping into these dark energies and using it to power up themselves. He turns into a sorcerer hunter by the end of that film. But what happened? We don't even see him in this film. Not only do we not get any answers to how they played out in the last 6 years, but the version of Mordo we see isn't even in this film. When you consider that Wanda is killing people in this film, that's the whole reason why Mordo turned into a sorcerer hunter in Doctor Strange 1. So, did he just give up and retire? Was there a Doctor Strange 1.5 or secret episode that we missed? What happened? So, Wanda is hunting down Doctor Strange and America Chavez through the multiverse. And this is where the film really blows up in your face. So, we land on Earth 838. And they also confirmed, here's the joke, guys. They also confirmed that our Earth is the comics version of 616? That doesn't make sense, because Captain America and Thor, these characters are innately different from 616. They are not 616. Our Earth in the MCU was originally called Earth 99999 in the first Avengers movie. So whose idea was it to switch it now? I know this was brought up in Spider-Man with Mephisto when he talked about all the different universes and our universe as well. But to actually confirm that this is the comics counterpart of 616 makes no sense. It really doesn't. They're basically making the movies the Prime Earth. So, we move on. Doctor Strange finds out that there's an Illuminati on this Earth. For those who don't know what that is, the Illuminati are a secret society group of superheroes appearing in American comics that protects the world from big threats. So the original lineup was Iron Man representing the Avengers, Reed Richards representing Fantastic Four, Professor X representing the Mutants, Black Bolt, the Inhumans, Submariner, Atlantis, Doctor Strange, the Sorcerers and Magic, plus Black Panther, the King of African Nations. That's how it originally was set up. The group has been secretly meeting behind the scenes to share information and kind of shape the direction of human affairs, or superhuman affairs. In the movie, we got everybody that we wanted to ever appear from the TV series and movies, and then in a heartbeat, they were gone. They were killed right in front of our eyes, in which is the biggest joke since X Factor died in their opening mission in Deadpool 2. Now let's run through all that tragedy, shall we? So first of all was Karl Mordo. It was the 838 alternate version of the Magic Hunter from Doctor Strange 1, who's actually good now, and the only one who survives. This is funny considering that it's always the black guy that dies first. So I have no idea where our version is and what happened to all of his plans, so that was a fail. One of my favourite characters, and this one hurts me a lot, guys, is Captain Carter. Peggy Carter was introduced in the What If Marvel animated series, and she was injected with the super soldier serum instead of Steve Rogers. She gets killed by her own shield, guys. Can you believe that? She gets killed by her own shield. And the silliest one of all, Black Bolt. Now, Anson Mount returns from the Inhuman TV series, a series that was so bad that Marvel fans don't even want to discuss it. And they didn't even stick around till the end of the series, because it was so unwatchable. And to redeem Anson Mount for his gift was to come onto this movie and kill himself by Wanda closing his mouth, much like Neo from the first Matrix film, talking and then having his voice explode his head from the inside out. It was a great effect, actually, but the most stupidest death in Marvel I have ever seen. And whose fault was it that he died? Well, here's the funniest part. It's the smartest man alive, Reed Richards, or shall I say, he plays the dumbest man alive. When he actually tells Wanda how to kill Black Bolt. Because he turns out and says Black Bolt will kill you with his voice, giving Wanda the idea to close his mouth. Well done, Reed Richards. You are now the dumbest hero on the planet. I mean, how on earth did these guys even beat Thanos? I know they used the Book of Ashanti, but you know that's not around anymore. It was destroyed, and there's only one in the multiverse. But I'm not finished here, guys. Captain Marvel, the character they created in the comics to rival the likes of DC's Superman, is now played by Lashana Lynch, who portrayed Carol Danvers' best friend and fellow pirate Maria Rambeau, Monica's mother, in 2019's Captain Marvel movie. It implies that in this alternate universe, Maria was the one that gained superpowers after being exposed to the Tesseract's energy in an explosion. But part of Captain Marvel's powers, guys, are endurance, stamina, and physical durability. She can survive the vacuum of space. She can fly at roughly 6 times the speed of sound. She has energy projection up to the force of an exploding nuclear weapon. She flies into asteroids the size of planets and moons. She blew up Thanos' ship by flying through it. Yet, a stone statue falls on her and kills her. Could you imagine take Hulk, Superman, or Thor, take those characters, and if something fell on them, would that actually kill them? No, it won't. It's just ridiculous. It's so silly. How can you even buy any of this stuff? Honestly, what research did Sam Raimi do for this movie? I mean, not only can you not kill Captain Marvel like that, but a building can fall on the Hulk or Thor and not kill them. A whole building. This was a stone statue. And look, guys, look, it gets better and it gets more silly. I'm not finished. The last Illuminati member to fail was Patrick Stewart's Charles Xavier, their leader. He gets into Wanda's mind, entering a white void. And he finds the good Wanda, which, by the way, was the only time in the movie we ever saw her. He found her hiding under the Sokovian rubble, which is where the Darkhold trapped her in, so the evil Scarlet Witch could go walk around and take control. So remember, guys, Wanda's abilities features telekinesis, energy manipulation, and some form of neural interfacing that allows her to both read minds and target enemies with nightmares. You know, we see her weave these nightmares into people's minds. But she has a limited form of telepathy. Now, Charles Xavier is the world's most powerful telepath. So what's even more funny is that they have a fight in the astral plane, you know, this kind of spirit world in Wanda's mind, where not even the Shadow King can beat Charles Xavier. Yet Wanda walks up to him and snaps his neck, making it happen in real world as well, because whatever happens in the astral plane happens in real life. That's where the fight that Charles Xavier had in the comics with Shadow King, that's how he lost the use of his legs. Yet she's allowed to go in there and snap his neck. So I don't even want to talk about that one anymore. But Sam Raimi believes that introducing characters like Reed Richards and Professor X only to kill them afterwards is helping to reinforce the idea to all of us that there are infinite possibilities in the MCU multiverse and that these heroes do exist. If that's the case, then why should we be emotionally attached to them in this movie? It's sending the wrong message. We see all these guys and think, yeah, it's great, and then you just swipe the carpet underneath our feet. Now, it's worked for DC because they've come to kind of realize how their multiverse works. You've all been on that journey. They have backstories. DC characters have emotional arcs so that when they die, it means something. But here in Doctor Strange 2, it's now you see me, now you don't. We don't know nothing about these guys. We have no backstories of how they got their powers, what their ties are to different heroes or family members or anything like that. And there's just no emotion there. We just see these guys on the screen and within 2 minutes, they're all dead. There's no build-up from previous series or any films where they came from. The reward for killing them in the first few minutes of their scenes was just like, here it is. Leaving us with the question of, will John Straczynski ever play the MCU's version of Reed Richards? Or will Patrick Stewart ever come back and play Charles Xavier again? I know he said he was done after Logan, but here we are. So at the end of the film, Doctor Strange falls to the ground, screaming in pain, and gets the third eye, similar to the one Sinister Strange has, the Doctor Strange variant from which he stole the Darkhold book. The book where they learn more powerful spells and it corrupts them. And this sort of corruption is indicative of them having this third eye where they reach a level of power that they can move on with that kind of doubles their abilities. Doctor Strange appears to be corrupted at the end of the film. So in the comics, the eye is totally sort of different than it is in the movies. It's not directly related to evil. And he can handle it just fine. It only makes him more powerful. The third eye is a manifestation of the Eye of Okamoto. The same eye that was at the center of the events in the first Doctor Strange movie. Again, no real payoff. But Wanda finally gets what she wants. She gets her kids. But at this point, the viewers can see that Sam Raimi has essentially ignored WandaVision entirely. And according to Rolling Stone's interview, director Sam Raimi admitted that he just saw key moments. He just saw a few episodes and some key moments. And that he was told directly from Kevin Feige to impact it into the storyline. Which is ridiculous because fans have been waiting 18 months for this. Gone is all the emotional build-up with Vision and the nuanced understanding of what Wanda has been forced to sacrifice in the name of the greater good. This movie was nowhere near a Marvel top 10 film. Anyone telling you otherwise is lying. The blatant insignificance and overall impact of Wanda's story leaves viewers burnt here, and WandaVision shows delicate depiction of grief and the emotional trauma she suffered. We suffered it with her. We were on that journey with her. We felt every bit of pain that Wanda went through, and then to find peace. But in this film, that all goes out of the window in some kind of maternal madness soap opera in which Wanda is essentially a single-minded Terminator, only defined by her desire to find some version of herself, kill that version, and take ownership of the sons. In fact, when she saw the look on her son's face after she had beaten up their version of Wanda, the whole plot point made no sense. Something about... I think it's something to do with the reshoots. I really do. Looking back at it, I think this has something to do with the reshoots and how this film was pushed back to make me think that this synopsis that we originally saw in the original plot was changed. If you look at the original trailer after No Way Home, that certainly seemed to imply that an alternate Doctor Strange would have been the villain, the one that we saw from What If. And there was a line in the trailer where Doctor Strange Supreme says, "Things just got out of hand." And he says it menacingly. I didn't see that in this film. It wasn't there. Much like the Civil War story, it's fine to go and do something different from the comics, but make sure that it makes sense. In the comics, the reason why those stories did well is because they made sense. If you're going to do a variant of it, then make sure that it holds well. Now, the Devil Mestifa was playing with Wanda's mind in the comics, and my hope was that the creator of Chaos Magic, Cthulhu, was having kind of manipulated Wanda's mind in, a kind of a mutation at birth. In the comics, that's what he did to unlock her magical potential. He was the one behind it all. But in WandaVision, she did something terrible in the name of a grieving mother. And by mind-controlling innocent people, she realized it was wrong and chose to undo it herself, with the full knowledge and understanding of the pain it had caused. She said goodbye to the family she made. But this film shows you that Wanda was corrupted by the evil Darkhold. And instead of seeing a story that continued that journey, that allowed Wanda to move forward, to find a better way out of her depression, and a kind of a new purpose, we just didn't see that. We didn't see that at all. She hasn't found a new purpose in life. She's actually gone backwards and now is said to be dead. Now, look, I don't believe she's dead. And in comics, you never really are you? Now, Sam Raimi abandoned a well-rounded member of the Avengers with tons of story background. And he turned her into a genetic supervillain with a creepy horror vibe, wiping out everything in its path. We have no idea what is the character's emotional state right now, who tearfully said goodbye to the man she loved in Vision after realizing the violation that she committed against his citizens. Not just that, but Doctor Strange's choices to commit many of the same acts he condemns her for at the end of the film is baffling, giving Mordo the reason why he has to hunt down wizards. And the Illuminati members were right to kill their own version of Doctor Strange. So they're kind of implying that every Doctor Strange has the ability to go bad. Guys, look, I'm going to give this film a 6.5 out of 10 for me. It's kind of a train wreck. We never even see a struggle from someone who knew she did wrong. Wanda was fully committed to her evil plan and never seems to struggle with it. That's why I mentioned the bit where Professor X finds the good Wanda in the rubble inside of the astral plane, inside of Wanda's head. He finds that Wanda, and there's no struggle whatsoever. It's the one scene in the film where they could have started to find some redemption, where she's actually fighting herself. But we saw none of that. Her corruption was essentially treated as a foregone conclusion, and the real person who Professor X found inside her mind didn't even try and fight it. There was no mental struggle at all. She's basically the most powerful being in existence, and I'm not sure what Marvel can do with her moving forward. They've killed off this character who we've grown to love. Now she's a legitimate serial mass murderer, one who has killed more people than the majority of MCU villains. They've ruined her. Even if you can use the term that she was possessed by the Darkhold, it was her grief over Vision that resulted in Westview, and she wasn't possessed by the Darkhold then. Then her grief took over from Billy and Tommy that resulted in the events of Doctor Strange 2, where she was, so either way her character was broken, and we don't see that redemption. All of that redemption we saw from her in WandaVision was a complete waste of time. She's right back where she was to start with. And although the film had essentially some high points, there's so many low points that it really is hard to get sold on this version of Wanda, who basically, as I said, is like the Terminator. But I must add, the one thing I did like this, I was surprised to see how graphic this film was, and they were able to make it a PG-13. But I'd really love to hear you guys' thoughts about where you thought this film was in the mix of things and what you thought of this film overall. I guess for casual fans who don't read the comics and didn't watch WandaVision or What If or anything like that, and they came out just to watch a movie, I think for them they would have enjoyed this because they wouldn't have had any of the setup and the backstories and all that emotional turmoil and sort of setup that we had. They wouldn't have had any of that, so they just would have walked in and saw this woman angry, just wrecking everything everywhere, and then dying at the end of the film. So for them, it probably would have been a little bit of a roller coaster. But for fans who are truly invested in the character, sorry guys, this ain't working. Speak to you guys in the next one, man. Peace out.